take a look at this fireball lighting up the skies of Southern California last night. Fortunately, it did not cause all the problems that the meteorite did in Russia last week when fragments hit a city, injuring thousands and causing a lot of damage there. But our own streak in the sky certainly has a lot of people talking. We sent NBC4's Gordon Tokamatsu to Griffith Observatory today to find out what scientists have to say about this. And Gordon, do they have an explanation?
Well, they do, Colleen, and it's not what you might think. You know, these fireballs do generate a lot of headlines. This one caught on video, seen by plenty of people here in Southern California. So what's really going on up there? Well, we came here to the observatory to ask one expert who says, relax, the sky is not falling. Maybe you were one of the 50 or so people who contacted the American Meteor Society last night. This is video posted on the organization's website of what many called a green fireball. Their map shows a cluster of reports from people literally hundreds of miles from each other.
What you're really seeing is a glowing column of gas.
The surprise here? The piece of material that caused that glowing mass was likely no larger than a basketball.
It's extremely visible because of the tremendous heat that is generated.
Earth's atmosphere is a marvelously protective thing, says Dr. Ed Krupp of Griffith Observatory. Because of it, most meteors are blasted to smithereens by the time they get anywhere near us. Even the ones that put on a show, like this one that streaked across Bay Area skies about a week ago. How do we know the atmosphere is protecting us? Well, Krupp says, consider this.
Somewhere on the planet, there's an object like that entering the atmosphere at least once a day.
Of course, the much larger chunk of space rock that streaked across the skies over Siberia a week ago was unusually large, but it too likely never reached Earth intact. The dozens of injuries and building damage came from a shock wave created when it disintegrated. To make a point, Dr. Krupp showed us this meteorite, which weighs more than 8 pounds despite its small size. It struck Earth some 50,000 years ago. And this could do some damage.
Yeah, you don't have to worry, though, about getting killed by a meteorite.
So what are the odds of you actually getting hit by a meteorite here on Earth? Well, by some estimates, it's 1 in several trillion. So your chances of winning the lottery several times over or getting hit by lightning are much greater. Live at Griffith Observatory, Gordon Tokamatsu, NBC4.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What are you looking at there? What? What are you looking at? Well, you're looking at a map of the world. And what you also see on this map is the pinpointed location of the last 50 meteorites that have been spotted directly overhead in the world. Very, very, very few, almost hardly non-existent, is Asia. 3 meteorites have been spotted in Australia. A few in, looks like about 3 or so in the southern part of Africa. The Middle East, 1. Europe, 1, maybe 2. And the bulk, nothing, not 1 meteorite has been spotted in South America of the last 50 meteorites. But look where the rest are. The United States of America. Exactly the United States of America. And a little bit in Canada. This is the last 50 meteorites. As Comet Ison is approaching, I want you to focus where the primarily where the meteorites are breaking the atmosphere and where they're being where they are directly being spotted overhead. Now, with that information, you might say, well, what, are you serious? That's what I said. And then I went, and I want to thank Troy. I really do. I want to thank Troy of North Carolina for this as a wonderful report. And if you want to take a look at this report yourself, I'll put the link below. It's the latest worldwide meteor reports. And I'll put it down below. I'll put the link for you. Give you an idea of where these meteorites are being seen. I know, and oh, by the way, you want to know how long it took for these 50 meteorites? Since September the 30th. Today is October the 3rd. So in the last And actually, this report only goes through October 2nd. So in a 3-day period, there were 50 meteorites, with the bulk of it right over top the United States of America. They've been spotted in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Yadensville, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Stanford, Connecticut, East Norwich, New York, Australia, Oregon, United States, of course, Stockton, California, Ontario, Canada. One was spotted over Lebanon. Of course, Navasota, Texas, Quebec, Canada. One was spotted over the Philippines, Toccoa, Georgia, Fairfield, Maine, Jefferson City, Missouri, East Lansing, Michigan, Canada, Portugal, Australia, Horseheads, New York, Overbridge, New York, and it's just to name a few for you, just so you can get a handle. But the map speaks for itself, folks. Can I ask a question? Is God trying to get America's attention? Especially just a few days ago, there were 48 meteorite spottings just in Indiana. Is God trying to get America's attention as Comet Ison is racing toward the sun? It's went past Mars. It's now headed toward the sun. It's bringing with it an enormous tail, an absolute astronomical tail, 8 times wider than the Earth. And if this increased meteorite activity is because it's on the front end of Comet Ison, does anybody got an idea what's coming on the back end? Oh, and by the way, is the government open yet? Is NASA watching? Are you serious? And then just throw in the fact that not only will the Comet Ison be bringing a ton of debris, we don't even know how many meteorites and asteroids and comet dust. Throw in the fact that it will be the brightest star in the sky since the Star of Bethlehem. Throw in the fact that it may be as much as 15 times brighter than the moon, according to Brian Williams of NBC News. Throw in the fact that it will come its closest point to the sun on November 29th, 2013, the anniversary of when the United Nations first voted Israel to become a state on November 29th, 1947. Throw in the fact that the Comet Ison is showing up 666 years after the Comet Nigra, when the Black Plague, the bubonic plague, killed half of Europe, 25 million people. I'm just saying, is there something biblical going on here? We know what Jesus said in the Word of God. He said there would be great signs and fearful sights. Great signs and fearful sights. He said that, of course, in Luke 21. Should we be concerned? Is the Lord trying to send us a message? He has been trying to send us a message since Christ died on the cross and rose from the dead. Matter of fact, the Bible says in Luke 21, in verse 10, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Also, he told us in the same chapter, Luke 21, go to verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, and the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, Then look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Give your life to Jesus Christ. America, wake up. It's obvious God's trying to get our attention.
Bizarre story from Russia. 500 people have been hurt by a visitor from space. A meteorite, or perhaps more than one, passed over southern Russia, eventually exploding in midair, producing an intense flash and a
terrifying moments have been climbing through the morning, and there have been conflicting reports from various government agencies, but the latest official government numbers seem to indicate consistently that there are more than 500 people injured by broken and shattered glass as a result of this meteor strike. We believe that dozens certainly are being treated in hospital. A few of those may be in pretty grave, maybe in a pretty bad way. It was just a few moments. Let's just listen now to a regional ministry emergency spokesman describing what took place in the skies over this Russian region of Chelyabinsk at around 9:20 this morning.
In the sky over the city of Chelyabinsk, an object was spotted which flew in the air with high speed, leaving a trace in the sky. 2 minutes later, 3 consecutive explosions were heard, and the resulting impact wave smashed windows in the city of Chelyabinsk and neighboring cities.
So Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, has estimated that this one large meteor was traveling at around 30 kilometers a second as it struck the Earth's atmosphere. It is at that point that it is believed to have broken up, fracturing into smaller pieces, triggering these sonic booms and shock waves across the area, which have not resulted in any major substantial or structural damage to buildings, but hundreds have had their windows blown out, and as a result, that has in turn injured hundreds of people, but mostly, so far, not seriously. The extraordinary thing is, Benita, that this all took place, as I say, in just a few months.
Phil, how are people describing what actually happened to them in the minutes, or I should say, the seconds before this happened?
Well, the videos that's emerging from this region this morning gives a very strong indication, and a lot of it seems to have actually caught the actual moment that either the large meteor or fragments from it were actually tearing through the Earth's atmosphere. And from this video, we can see the streaks of something like smoke from the friction caused by this large piece of rock as it enters the atmosphere. We hear the explosion that follows a few moments later, and then the sound of broken glass almost everywhere. There is no doubt that this was a terrifying experience for these people, completely caught unprepared by this. It was around 9:20 this morning, local time, as I say, around the time that most people are at work, going to work, at school, driving, living their normal early morning lives, when this took place completely without any sort of warning. We do know that there is a large asteroid on a near-Earth trajectory that is due to pass reasonably close to the Earth, but that's still some hours away. And the analysis from space agencies around the world so far seems to indicate that this completely unexpected event is not linked to that passing asteroid.
Hey folks, it's Monday, February 17th, about 12:50 Mountain Time, 2014. Fire in the Sky News. We are looking at, this is not a picture of the sun. This is of a giant fireball that was recorded somewhere over, it looks like, northern England. I'll post the link to the video that was sent to me by Super James 215. This thing is incredible. It's very reminiscent of the February 15th event of 2013 from Russia. I don't know if this has happened on the 16th or the 15th. I don't know the complete details, but anyway, it is a dazzler. Oh my gosh. Wow. Just sharing, guys. Unbelievable. Brighter than the sun.
Burning across the horizon this morning. It is the second time in 3 weeks we've seen it in our area. This time, people took pictures. KPTV's Amy Troy has a look at some Fox 12 viewer photos. Amy, what was it?
Well, Shauna, the jury is still out. Scientists are still looking over all the reports, all the photographs. Luckily, with our clear skies, there are lots of photos. People saw it, they snapped pictures of it, they sent these in to our newsroom. Some described it like a line in the sky grew into a fireball. Now, a pilot described it as contrails left behind a jet. We talked with an astronomer at OMSI. He says there are great pictures, but no reports of a sonic boom, and that's key. He says when a fireball, a piece of an asteroid, enters our atmosphere, we hear it, and there are no reports of this so far.
And looking at the picture, it looked like that was a fairly good sized chunk. Then the explosion, where's the flash? There hasn't been any reports of any such thing yet.
He says we should know what it is in a couple of days. You may remember back on October 30th, many saw a fireball in the sky. That was a meteor entering our atmosphere. It came in over Washington State and then landed in the Pacific Ocean. Reporting live, Amy Troy, the 5 o'clock news.
The fireball flew Friday night. The East Coast does not mean the end of Western civilization as we know it. Although you may have succumbed to the prophecy that some social media stopped running. The sky lit along the entire U.S. East Coast. Those who saw it described it as a thin stripe of blue-green-white, explains Chip Guy, who was driving in eastern Maryland when he and his family saw him. It did not last more than 8 or 9 seconds, and then disappeared, said a spokesman. Guy, Sussex County, Delaware. Frankly, I did not think too much about it, he says, but became concerned when he published it in the web of the local media. Triggered the rapid and overwhelming. That was just the tip of the iceberg of what was going to happen that night. Throughout Friday night, every few seconds a message appeared on Twitter from someone who had seen the meteor. Some of the messages were from the cities of New York and Washington.
That wasn't thunder. That thing was blown up. Oh my God, hit by lightning? Oh my God, this is a big fire. So there's downtown. Oh my God. Holy smokes. Oh my God. Oh my God, there's flaming things in the air, Aaron. It's shooting things out of it.
Thanks very much. Apparently there's a lot of excitement in central Russia today.
Really? Why not?
I'm not sure. Are you going to tell me? It has something to do with
meteorites.
An out of this world discovery.
Yeah, ISIS explains.
This was the scene back in February as a massive meteor streaked across the sky. Turning night into day, the fireball sent shockwaves across Russia, shattering windows, injuring some 1,200 people, and causing millions of dollars in damage. Scientists say fragments of the space rock crash landed here, beneath the ice of this frozen lake near the city of Chelyabinsk. Now, 8 months later, the ice is gone. And on Wednesday, in an operation covered live on Russian TV, divers entered the murky water. At the bottom of the lake, they found what is believed to be the largest single fragment of the meteorite. The 1.5-meter-long boulder was dragged ashore, then weighed, where it literally tipped, then broke the scales.
If it weighs more than 500 kilograms, then the object is unique in itself and is likely to be one of the biggest meteorites ever found.
The suspected space rock crumbled into several chunks, but still weighed in at more than 570 kilograms. Now, scientists want to confirm this is indeed the meteorite they've been searching for.
The initial visual survey, which we are talking about now, doesn't give us 100% certainty. We still need to conduct more research, a structural analysis, and other tests.
When it entered Earth's atmosphere, scientists estimate the meteor weighed about 10,000 tons. It's just a fraction of that size now, but scientists seem confident they've made an out-of-this-world discovery. I should say CNN.
Now we know why.
Now we know why there's excitement in central Russia.
We're offshore. We got a meteor shower coming in. It's breaking up.
Take a look at this cell phone video. Captain William Lowry was in his boat in the Freeport area around 3 Wednesday morning when he saw a meteor fly across the sky in a brilliant orange glow.
Nothing like this of this magnitude. A few shooting stars from time to time, but this approximately lasted 3 to 4 minutes.
The Russian meteor that exploded across the sky is prompting scientists to better identify large meteor and asteroid threats. A team at the University of Hawaii is working on the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, with NASA.
Something that's, enough to do a regional disaster. Well, we're picking those up about a year ahead. But we'd like to pick up something a tenth of that size with enough warning, maybe a week's warning, 2 weeks warning, so people will know to look for it, and if they really are in the way of it, they'll know to evacuate.
Hey folks, it's Wednesday, November 27th, about 11:15 Mountain Time, 2013. Fire in the Sky News tonight. Special report. I'm just going to get right to it. Please forgive my voice, folks. I've been fighting a cold all week. We're under a full-blown meteor outburst, and the data that's coming in, there's no denying it. Right here in Greece today, a huge fireball with meteorites exploded over Greece and Italy, shook windows, heard a sonic boom. People mistook it for an earthquake. Again, that was today, the 27th. There's many reports here to verify that. Another one today over Australia, was like, and if I'm not mistaken, they heard a sonic boom with that as well. Quebec, Canada, fireball on the 26th. This was yesterday. People were mystified at a sonic boom, and a pilot did report seeing a bright light. I guess it rattled windows again there, just like it did over in Italy and Greece today. So in 24 hours, we've had 2 major fireballs or meteors enter the atmosphere that have rocked houses, windows, shook the ground, startled people. Story out of Florida is absolutely unbelievable. A little boy was struck by a meteorite, and this was 3 or 4 days ago. And I'll post the link to this story if you haven't already heard about it, but that is extremely rare. And I'm glad the little guy's okay. And I commend the parents on their great detective work on looking around the driveway trying to get to the bottom of, what happened. And they did find other little rocks laying around where he was playing, and went and had them analyzed, and they were in fact meteorites. So hang in there, little guy. Be strong. Unbelievable. Let's go over to American Meteor Society, and tonight we've got a report that just come in less than an hour ago out of Mesquite, Texas. They're reporting these at a minus 24 magnitude, bright as the sun. They said there were 8 to 10 fireballs. Awesome! Exclamation point. And there's other reports coming in. That's the most dramatic I've seen. I just come down to do this. I haven't been able to do videos much lately because I just been a little under the weather. But anyway, here's the video that was sent to me by Blonde Seeker, and the YouTube channel is Mr. Stargaze Nation. And I believe this was filmed from New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Australia. I don't know. The description has been taken down. I watched it earlier, and if I'm not mistaken, it was New Zealand. But check this out. Oh, man. Some sort of fireball, meteor broken into many pieces, flying through the sky. I have no idea. But he does have this in slow motion, and he did capture this today. Unbelievable. So there's a lot going on, guys, and I agree with lunar meteorite hunters. We are under a full-blown meteor outburst alert based off of the reports coming in from around the world. Sonic booms, shaking windows. Now the meteorites are hitting humans. So big heads up. Not trying to scare anybody. It is what it is. That's all. So I'll try to track down some video footage of some of these other reports that have been coming in, and I'll get those up tomorrow. But during these uncertain times, folks, I encourage you to be brave, be strong, and please be wise. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
We begin tonight with breaking news and a mysterious sight in the skies. Thousands of people up and down the East Coast reported a large, bright meteor shooting across the sky tonight. There have been reported sightings from Virginia to Boston. Very few pictures or video available until now. This just into our newsroom from Thermont, Maryland. There it is. Check the left-hand side of your screen. Kim from Thermont captured the video on her home security camera. The timestamp on the video shows it was taken at 7:53 tonight. Witnesses describe the meteor as bright green and white with a long tail, visible for about 5 seconds before disappearing. Fox 5's Gary McGrady here to explain what people saw. Gary.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brian. No doubt we're going to have tons of video of this over the weekend, which is a slightly larger meteor. A typical meteor would be about the size of a pea or up to the size of a pea, so this would be larger than that. And I saw some instances where maybe a baseball size or a softball size would glow like that. So it was probably right around that size. It does appear much closer than it actually is. It definitely has to be higher in the sky than 5 miles, and we begin to potentially see these when they enter the atmosphere at about 50 miles high. So just keep that in mind, and they are traveling faster than 10 miles per second, and no doubt that one burned up very, very quickly. We have no idea if we're going to have meteorites from this or not. Again, there it is, looping for you. Again, it lasted, just about everybody is saying it lasts 3 to 4 to 5 seconds in the sky, and there's a website, Brian, called the American Meteor Society, and they encourage people to go to that website and put in the details of their sighting of the particular meteor. And earlier this evening, just after this, the website was crashed. You couldn't get on it. And I checked a little while ago, and there have been reports from North Carolina all the way up to New England. And at the time I checked, there had already been 356 sightings of this, and definitely thousands more. This is not unusual, Brian. We get thousands of these a day across the planet. It's just we don't see very many of them. Some of them happen during the day, and obviously some of them happen over the ocean where there's just nobody there to see it.
It seems like if it would have landed somewhere, at least around people, we would have heard by now. So perhaps it landed out to sea or something.
Yeah, like I said, I have no idea. And chances are they would be such small particles that who knows.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Gary. Getting a lot of witness reports on our Facebook page. Jethro says, I saw it while driving on the Beltway in the area of Andrews Air Force Base at about 7:50. Thought it was a flare. Louise says it was so clear you could see it shooting through the sky. My grandson was afraid it was a plane crashing. It was beautiful. Head to MyFox DC Facebook page to tell us about your sighting. And if you have any pictures or videos, feel free to upload them to myweatherphoto@gmail.com.
Непонятно. Была такая ярчайшая вспышка и исчезла. И вот туда дальше. Ой. Охренеть. Где-то упал. Слышишь? Это знаешь, что было? Это он сверхзвуковой, это похоже астероид. Это звуковая волна, астероид. Реально.
Сегодня какой-то астероид должен быть в опасной близости от Земли.
Sky watchers in North America might see an outburst of meteors during the early hours of June 11th.
when Earth passes through a stream of cometary debris last seen in 1930. Peter Jenniskins of SETI and Esko Laitinen of Helsinki, Finland predict the return of Gamma Delphinid meteor shower this Tuesday morning around 0830 UT, 4:30 a.m. EDT. The shower is expected to last no more than 30 minutes with an unknown number of bright, fast meteors. So they really don't know what to expect. Bill Cook of NASA's Meteor and Environment Office will chat about the shower starting tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern, so you might want to tune into that. This is off Space Weather. And there's a few links that I've read up about it, but I'll read this one here, and this is off of Universe Today. Back on June 11th, 1930, 3 members of the American Meteor Society in Maryland saw a half-hour-long bright outburst of meteors from the little constellation Delphinus Dolphin. No one had predicted the shower, but it came out of nowhere and hasn't been seen since. Attempts to catch a repeat performance in subsequent years met with no success. This may change tomorrow morning, June 11th, 2013. And then the same story. The expected time of maximum activity is 4:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 3:30 a.m. Central, 2:30 a.m. Mountain, and 1:30 a.m. Pacific. These times are ideal for the Americas, where the Dolphinus is high in the southern sky at peak time. So apparently this has only happened that one other time that they're aware of, and it is 1930. No one knows how strong the shower might be, or if even the duration, how long that'll be. It's likely to be brief, they're speculating, based on their last account. You know, times estimate the range from 1 hour to 15 minutes. Lunsford expects bright meteors to appear a minute or two apart. If you're game, split the difference and set up a comfy lawn chair facing the south an hour before the expected max. And we'll see what happens. God bless you all. Stay safe. Stay out of the rain. Stay out of the lies. Stay smart. Take care.